Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to our Friday video. Today I'm going to be featuring the Tier 7 Dutch cruiser, the Eendracht. I tried working really hard on the pronunciation before the start of this video, so it's something like the Eendracht. Something like that. So, sometimes I do try to look up the names and pronouncing them correctly before the start of the video, and other times I'm just flying by the seat of my pants, so that's FlimsyLunchTray for you. So, the WoW's Wiki on this ship is actually rather short. It's a variant of a new generation light cruiser project with 10 152mm guns as her main battery. So she plays and feels very much so like a light cruiser, as that's what the Royal Netherlands Navy intended. Pros, it has access to airstrikes. Cons, airstrikes take a long time to reload. Cons, most things can penetrate its light armor and large citadel. That's really all that's on the WoW's Wiki, so I'll talk a little bit more in giving my player performance opinion to you. This cruiser line is known to have good AA, but I would put it as a con and a pro, the AA of this ship. It is short range, 3.5 kilometer, but it's a very strong, it's a decent strength 3.5 kilometer AA. You're going to be noticing in this match, well, very much so, that we are going to be dealing with the enemy carrier, the Tier 6 Serov. And these planes at Tier 6, for the Russian carrier, they're the run strike, hit and run. So they don't have the best health pool, and we're also dealing with the tier lower. So our AA, as you're going to see by the end of this video, is going to do its job well enough, even though it's only 3.5 AA kilometer range. So I'd rate the AA as kind of a pro and con. I mean, it's nice, especially if you are facing tier 8 CVs, then I would definitely view the AA as being very much a negative con because of how short range it is, and how fast carriers strike you. Sometimes it's really hard to be able to actually do any damage to them since the range is so short. So most of the enemy team is moving towards A and B. I have elected to come down here to C to try to take the cap. And it's a little bit of a gutsy move. The CV is preventing me from staying dark. And I also have to keep maneuvering to try to mitigate damage. And then we go broadside, trying to avoid these battleships, but only minimal damage. I think that was just an overpin. The reload time of the guns, I have to check that, but I believe they're like, let me look, I'm gonna tell you wrong. Yeah, 7.5 second reload. So with this being a light cruiser, you really, the strengths of this is playing behind islands, maybe in smoke. You're going to be kiting away. I have found the best way that this ship thus far has worked is playing at range. You also get access to spotter plane, which is really helpful in those situations where you're going to be farther away from the enemy team, or let's say they're pushing really hard and you need to open up the distance between you and enemy team. The spotter plane comes in really handy. And so my goal is to work from this C cap area, because most of the times in this spawn, with how our team spawned, enemy team tends to push A and B. And so I can come down here to try to utilize these islands to stay dark. So to me, the ship is strong in that sense if you play her at range, kiting away, and using islands constantly. I've been playing a lot of ranked in this ship because I've actually quite enjoyed playing ranked in this ship, and you're going to see from this battle one of the reasons why, or several reasons why. But I've been playing a lot of different battles, and I've seen some players, what were you doing cowering behind an island, and this, that, and the other. And that's really how you have to play light cruisers in the game of World of Warships. I mean, looking across the map, you know, we have there's a Nelson, there's a Colorado, there's a New Mexico. So they can definitely one-shot me in this scenario here on this map. So it's just knowing your ship. This isn't a brawling ship. I can't just charge it. So sometimes you'll get that from players who don't understand how certain ships work. The gun range, is 14.8 once you get it fully upgraded to the modification 2 on the gunfire control system. And the hull, you also go from a 28,800 to the hull B, which is 32,600. And I'm seeing if there's any things that change. Yeah, you get more AA mounts from the looks of things. So it's just your standard typical things, maybe at a tier 7 ship that you have to research and upgrade. This ship, as it was saying in the player performance in WoW's Wiki, pros and cons. Cons, it does have a very large citadel. The citadels on these ships, I've noticed, they tend to stretch from the front main turret to almost the rear turret. In that whole section, so you're underneath your whole superstructure, it's basically a large citadel. So you have to be really mindful of what ships are firing at you, especially if they have larger caliber guns, like we're dealing with the Nelson and the Colorado here. So you have to play it wise. A lot of times when you're kiting too, especially, you're going to be using your rudder shift constantly. And here, of course, using the islands. Now, the airstrike. The airstrikes, I feel they're good. You really have to be able to judge where the enemy ship is moving. Are they going to be turning in, out? Are they going to keep coming at you a straight line? Because it takes 15 seconds from once you click the airstrike to happen to occur. So a lot of times you might be going more for a stationary target. Maybe there's a cruiser, a battleship behind an island. So you're going to be doing that. Or if they're coming at you, then they're charging in a straight line. You can do that as well. I've noticed sometimes I've been able to use the airstrike in a way that for the enemy team player to avoid it, they end up turning broadside to, let's say, a battleship teammate of mine or something, and they get blapped for it. So sometimes you can use it to that advantage if your teammate is paying attention to how things are going. So the airstrike definitely does considerable damage if you land it well. Another really good strength of this ship is that it has good fire setting chance. I have even increased that. So here we've got an example. So this lander is going to be a little bit harder to hit because he is very maneuverable, and if he sees it coming, he'll know what's good for him, and he'll turn away to avoid it. But the fire setting chance, even with the commander build, I don't remember the name of the skill. I can probably actually look it up here. I think it was a pyrotechnician that I've used to actually increase my chance of starting fire. Because on the commander, I believe it also has enhanced skill, increases the chance of starting fires even more so. And I take the combat signals that also increase my fire starting chances. So I play this ship very much so like an HE spammer. The AP, I would say, is only really good at very close range when you're dealing with targets. Otherwise, you're always going to be firing HE because the HE is reliable, it is good. And that is another strength that I see of the ship a lot. And so for playing something like the light American cruiser line, playing at the range, utilizing islands, focusing a lot of HE, this ship has felt very comfortable for me to play. Much more so than I thought it would actually be, because I didn't really know what to expect of the Dutch cruiser line. Now there is a shift once you go to the tier 8 Dutch cruiser. The gun load time is longer, and I think it really goes more into a heavy cruiser line at that point than a light cruiser line. So I'll continue to cover the line as I grind up. I'm playing with that ship, trying to figure it out. But this ship is pretty straightforward at the mid tier. You kite, you play at long range, you use islands and smoke screens because you're trying to retain your health pool as much as possible. Here I'm just trying to get a reset on the Leander. You can see he's so low, so that's why I was continuing to blind fire and I didn't have to worry about the risk of being detected. Here again, we're just going to see if we can get him with the airstrike, but I'm sure he'll probably die before they land. And as I had nothing else in range of the airstrike, which should be 11 kilometers in distance for the airstrike. So when you're trying to play at range, you know, with the 14.8 kilometer main battery range, it makes it difficult actually to be able to land the airstrike, right? When I'm saying kiting, play at long range, where then all of a sudden your airstrike is not able to hit the target. So there's two things that come into play here. One is when you utilize the island, of course, you can negate that, because I'm not my health pool right now is at risk as I keep spamming this Nelson. The other thing is sometimes when I have an enemy team pushing into me, let's say it's just 1 or 2 ships, I might slow down just enough to, let's say, 12 kilometers. And then with the lead time as they keep coming towards me, I go ahead and drop the airstrike. So that's something that has worked quite well for me. And then you need to open up the distance and do more of that kiting and HE slinging and moving away from the enemy. So this Nelson looks like he's going to be turning into his left. So I'm going to go ahead and try doing so and landing the strike. Let's see how good of a guess I had. Looks like it's going to be short. The Nelson's pretty, how to say this? It's pretty slow, especially bleeds a lot of speed when it does go to turn. Because she's a slow battleship with those 3 nasty turrets in the front that can deal a lot of damage for how large a caliber they are. So it's just me and the Makarov, and then we still have the enemy carrier at play, and this Colorado here. So I need to be able to open the distance here because I need to be able to sling my shells over the island. So we're going to be focusing on getting some resets here, setting him on fire. The goal is to deny him taking the cap for as long as possible. As you can see, we barely just have a points lead right now. So we're just even. So we want to prevent him from flipping Bravo and hopefully kill him in the process. You can see the Makarov is behind the island and his health is quite low. So I know he's in a very vulnerable state. The CV is likely to be focusing him. But we first really need to deal with this Colorado. So we'll go ahead and drop 1 airstrike there, feeling that that's good. Sometimes I have to use an airstrike. The gun zoom range is a little awkward as you see me correcting it. I've also popped my spotter plane to help give me and the Makarov spotting. Yeah, 9,000 to help give us spotting of the Colorado, because otherwise we would not be able to see the Colorado right now. And so we can still keep throwing shells, get some fires going as the Colorado is kind of burning nicely right now. But if the Colorado is smart, what he'll do is he'll just nose up behind the island where we are not able to see him at all as my spotter plane's about to go down. And he'll be able to flip the cap without us being able to get any more resets off. So you can see now we're already up to 14 fires and getting the high caliber. I would like to try to stay as close as possible to my Makarov because I'm just not able to support him so well. And that being a negative with that 3.5 kilometer AA. You have to be very close to your allies to be able to give them the decent AA that you have, especially it's quite good in terms when you're facing tier 6 CVs, but tier 8 CVs, you are going to be struggling with the AA of this ship and feeling quite vulnerable as a light cruiser, especially when there's a lot of other cruisers that have more 5 to 5.8 kilometer AA at tier 7. So as we're moving up, we're plane detected, so we're just going to pop some shots. I'm moving to the left to get behind the island, and the Colorado's basically sitting still. I don't even see, yeah, he looks like he's beginning to move. I think he's trying to move forward. So this should be a good airstrike drop because Colorado has such slow propulsion, and I know that, and that's why I basically just dropped it right on top of him because I knew he wasn't going to be going anywhere soon. So that is our second kill, and now we are up to 15 fires. Our Makarov did survive the other strike from the carrier, and now my goal is to move towards him, and I'm trying to get him to stay behind me. I wanted him to keep following me behind this island, and then I would take the lead and take in Bravo. So if you have a CV focusing you in this situation like the Makarov, and it's best to try to get your AA as close as possible. Granted, he might not know that my AA is only 3.5 kilometer, and I'm not really able to help him in trying to prevent the strike until the CV gets it off. And we get 3 planes there. So that's going to put us up to 27 planes. And now we need to start taking some Billy Big steps towards Bravo cap to be able to flip it, while also dealing with a CV who can make life very frustrating and causing us to turn away from the cap, slow down, and basically impede our progress and even get resets on us as we take the cap. So I'm not really sure how this match is going to go. You can see from the score timer that they have 4 minutes till an enemy win, and we just have under 5 minutes left in the game. So I really need to get to Bravo as soon as possible. The CV is lining up a torpedo attack, so I'm just playing dumb, and then I'm going to turn in as soon as he goes in for the attack. So I can, when you have a torpedo squadron coming in like this, the arming distance takes a bit, especially with the Russian CVs. So you can see they didn't even do damage since it hit me. So that's one of the bonuses of turning into a torpedo attack. And then also being able to dodge. If it's a very short arming time range for a CV, and then perhaps you want to turn away, it gives you a little bit more time to use your rudder shift, maneuverability to find the gap in the torpedoes. But because the Russian CV has a very long torpedo arming time, that's why I turned in. And I thought, well, let's go ahead and turn in because then I can use these islands to close the distance and moving into the Bravo cap. So I'm staying out to the right, pick up a defense expert and 8 planes. Yeah, so he just 9 planes. So he definitely ate flak there and didn't even get a strike off. So we're definitely exercising, prioritizing our AA sector. And it has a decent time when it's ready again, which is also really nice. The other thing that makes the ship strong that I didn't mention in the beginning is you also have hydroacoustic search. We didn't really need it because there were no destroyers in this matchmaking, but the hydroacoustic search really helps you when you're dealing with destroyers as a 4-kilometer range, if I'm looking at the mini-map correctly. And that means you're probably picking up ships at 4 kilometers, but then torpedoes at, let's say, 3 kilometers. Now, it's important to note here that I'm not just nose in directly towards the CV. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my rudder shift, and I'm going to shift my ship to the right here, just like that. And we avoided that whole skip bomber attack. And you actually should see an example of this again, because I think the next wave he sends is, again, another skip bomber attack. Because it's very important for me to... I do not want to get hit because I do not want him to reset my cap progress. Okay, it's a rocket airstrike. But I don't want to reset my cap progress because I need to keep sailing through Bravo to get to A. You can see we've mitigated the time enemy has to win, so back at 4 minutes again. Again, we're not turning too much. I was using more of my speed there because I looked like the strike was going to be more towards the rear of my ship, which it was. So I just kept using the speed versus using my rudder shift and slowing down my ship a bit. So now we're going to utilize this island in closing this distance. So if he already has another strike coming, it might make it more difficult for him to see us as an example, but he did get a glimpse of us there. I'm getting around the island. So again, notice how I have my ship positioned. We're a little bit to the right. As the airstrike comes in, we see where the bombs are. We do take one on the nose, but we mitigated the damage. Because he can, if I do not play well, he can shave me down over these next several minutes to having no health. So it's very important that I stay alive, but also flip this cap because we need it. So we've ceased the enemy team from winning. And they have no more points coming in. And now I'm going to stay nose into the CV again because he has such a long torpedo armament time. And he's trying to sail around and get on my broadside. I know this. Because if he gets on broadside, his attack is way much more effective, and he's already seen that I'm pretty comparable or competent to be able to mitigate the damage of the strikes he sends to me, but because he didn't come in for the strike, I flipped the cap. Now CV is off to the probably B1, C1, sitting behind the island, so because he's there, I'm not really able to close the distance to be able to get eyes on him, maybe pop a spotter plane. Now, I was paying attention too much to the score timer here, thinking, oh, not enough time to win. I was hoping that would be enough. And I'm thinking this is a loss. But it's good. And you're going to see me correct myself in comments because you can take my comment and chat 2 different ways. And we're up to the 63 planes now as well. But it is enough. I was paying too much attention to the score timer, not the score itself. And so that we do indeed take the lead. So now I really want to get as much more plane kills as possible to see about how many we end this battle with. So we get 5 there, which is going to take us to 68 planes. So really close game. You're going to see how the solo caps definitely help us, along with the defended ribbons and the plain ribbons, sets us up nicely in this scenario. So I've really enjoyed playing this ship in ranked. It's been a lot of fun if you understand that the ship is a light cruiser and you need to play at range, distance, and utilize islands. So over 580,000 credits, 19,874 experience, 5,719 free XP, along with the AA experts in high caliber, 109,000 damage with 68 plane kills, 2 destroyed, 15 set on fire ribbons, and 28 defended ribbons, along with those 3 solo caps. So I like the ship. And here you can see we have actually over 3,300 base experience. And that really gets inflated because of the solo caps, the plain ribbons, shotdown ribbons, and the defended ribbons on the caps. The Makarov on our team also did a great job, so shout out to him. Otherwise, this match probably most likely would have been a loss, but he did really good. Damage and fires alone, you can see is 46,000. Airstrike, we did 15,595 in. Potential damage, I think it was over 500,000, if I saw that right. And the carrier is going to contribute to increasing that number. So yeah, so that is the Eendracht, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And tomorrow we'll be doing an upgrade and commander build on the Eendracht itself. So make sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to catch that video tomorrow. So as always, if you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you did not, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you're subscribed, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. And we'll catch you next time. Take care.